everyone, and welcome back to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I'm sharing with you a simple, incredible recipe for cheeseburger sliders. I saw this recipe over on Instagram. It's the Weelicious account. I think the woman who's in charge is named Catherine McCord. She is a former model and now she is a trained chef and makes all kinds of kid-friendly recipes, both healthy and a little bit indulgent too. And these look amazing. She said they're supposed to be kind of a dupe for a White Castle burger. I've never had White Castle, I don't live near one, but the thought was very intriguing, so I had to try the recipe out and it did not disappoint. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. You can give this video a thumbs up, and let's get into this cheeseburger slider recipe. I'm starting by browning 1 pound of ground beef over about medium-high heat in a nonstick skillet, and then I drained off any excess grease. And I like to use my turkey baster to do this. Next, I added some seasonings to the cooked ground beef. So this started with 3 tablespoons of minced dried onions, and then I also added in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of paprika, and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, plus a little bit of pepper to taste. And then I stirred this all into the meat. Next, I added in 3 heaping tablespoons of mayonnaise, which kind of binds the meat together on the burger buns. And then I also added in probably about a half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. This was not in the original recipe, but I just love Worcestershire as a savory addition whenever I'm cooking some kind of like meatloaf or burger meat, something like that. It's a great flavor in the background, and it pairs really well with the other seasonings in the beef. So next, I prepped my 9 by 13 inch glass baking dish with a little bit of spray, and then I chose to use these slider buns that looked really tasty to me. You could also use Hawaiian buns. The pros to using the slider buns are that they're all individual, so you don't have to worry about slicing them evenly, horizontally down the middle. I always mess that up. They're always like super thin on the bottom and real thick on top. So these were easy to open up into the pan. However, the Hawaiian buns are square, so they do fit the pan a little bit better. Here with the ground beef, I did have to kind of carefully spoon it on and then also use my fingers to make sure it was all on top of the buns and not in between the buns in my pan, but it wasn't a big deal at all. And then I chose to use yellow American cheese. I just think that's classic. I like Land O'Lakes brand the best, but it melts really well. It gets nice and gooey, and in my opinion, it's very kid-friendly too. I think my kids liked it. So I used the lids of the burgers and topped off each one and then covered the pan with foil. These bake at 375 degrees for about 10 minutes with the foil on. Then you remove the foil and put them back in the oven for another 5 to 8 minutes or so. Ultimately, you want the cheese to be gooey and melty and everything to be heated through. I thought these little sliders would go really well with some kind of homemade Thousand Island, so I'm mixing up a little bit of ketchup, pickle relish, and mayonnaise. These little sliders are so good. I love that savory flavor from the onions, garlic powder, and that little splash of Worcestershire too. And it does pair really well with the homemade Thousand Island. Last night when we had them for dinner, I just put some like sliced up dill pickle spears on. I thought it needed that kind of tanginess and a little bit of crunch too. These would also be good with like some potato chips on them just for that textural contrast, but overall, I love this recipe. Now, if you don't love onions, you could probably figure out that you might not like all the onions in this, but I think it would still be good without the onions, just with a little bit of garlic powder and Worcestershire for some savory flavor. But I just love this method where you use the ground beef, you mix it with a little bit of mayo to hold it together, really glue it together with any kind of cheese that you want and bake it. They are awesome. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can follow me over on Instagram at Ann's Family Recipe and give this video a thumbs up if you liked these cheeseburger sliders here today. Thank you so much for joining me here in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon.